If you have recently built a gaming PC and you turn it on and it doesn't completely boot, in fact, it doesn't really get very far at all, there may be a solution that may actually be simpler than you're thinking. If your PC has one RAM stick, this may just fix the problem. Quick overview of the situation that we found ourselves in with this PC. Even if what your PC is doing is slightly different than what this one was doing, this solution may still work, or it may give you some ideas of what to try. So we finished building the PC, we turned it on, the fans inside all started moving and spinning, which is good. The same thing as moving is spinning. Anyways, they all started spinning, and the computer lit up as well. The lights inside the front panel lit up, and then there was no video output, and it stayed like that for about 10 seconds and then restarted. So, that's a problem. We were troubleshooting the whole situation and wondering, is it because we're using one of these old monitors, the VGA monitors? Is it not recognizing this for some reason because it's old, or is it what in the world is going on? Well, it turns out the problem is actually very simple. If your computer has a single stick of RAM like this one does, if you can see next to, whoops, I'm pressing on something on the back of the computer. That's not good. I think it's okay though. Or even if your computer has 2 sticks of RAM or 3 or 4, it may give you some ideas what to do. Brian to the rescue once again. For those of you guys who don't know, he's the guy who was helping me build the computer. But basically, when you have 1 stick of RAM, it has to be in slot 1, apparently. Slot, which was it? It's called DIMM1. Now, I assumed I couldn't find any markings on the board that would say one way or the other, but I assume that the actual slot 1 over here is DIMM1. If you have 2 sticks of RAM, then apparently they have to be in, depending on the board, usually in slots 1 and 3 or 2 and 4. If you have 2 sticks of RAM. If you have 4 sticks, then obviously they're all populated. Or if you just have, if you have 3, then I don't really know what happens in that case. But in any case, fixed that problem and it boots, which I'll demonstrate here in a minute. But huge thanks to Brian for figuring this out. Turns out that computers with 1 stick of RAM are not very common, at least not in his experience, and I'm assuming not in most people's experience as well, due to the fact that when you have 2 sticks of RAM, you can get things like, what was it called? The dual channel, I think it's called. So it sort of gets faster because it has 2 pathways to connect to the RAM. That's a oversimplified explanation. So that's essentially why it took a little bit longer to figure that out. Here's the demonstration. So, unfortunately I can't show the software on camera because I don't know about licensing or anything like that, but this monitor goes orange when it's got no signal and turns green when it has a signal. And that is what the problem was that it had no signal. So, I'm going to go ahead and hit the power button up here, and you'll see the computer will light up and the monitor light will turn green. Now that it works, just give it a second or two. It takes, oh, there, it just turned green. You can see it's a green monitor light. And it now says reboot and select proper boot device and stuff like that. So that's excellent. So it's booting now. So for those of you guys who are wondering, if you have a problem and you have a single stick of RAM in your computer, then try it in slot DIMM1, which is probably slot 1. Or if you have 2 sticks of RAM, try them in slot 1 and 2, or 3 and 4. And 4 sticks of RAM, obviously you just fill all the slots if you have a 4-slot machine. If you have a 4-slot motherboard. Hopefully this video was helpful to some of you guys, and if you know anybody who might be helped by this video, then go ahead and share this video with them and stuff like that, and see you guys later. Bye-bye!